It says go live. Oh, it says I'm live. Assalamu alaikum. Should I wait for people to trickle in until I start? Okay. Assalamu alaikum, guys. My name is Hiba. How's everyone doing? I have the chat open, so please talk so I know that you're there. Okay. Hello, Mariam. Okay. Love you. Okay, so today, we're actually only 6 days away from Ramadan. Sarah, hi Sarah. Um, yeah, so we're only 6 days away from Ramadan. So I thought that I would talk about Ramadan reminders or reflections, specifically the purification of the heart. Um, and since we're only 6 days away, Allahumma balighna Ramadan, and may Allah have mercy on the souls of those who are with us last Ramadan but couldn't make it to this Ramadan. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. First, I wanted to start by bringing up 2 ayahs from the Quran from Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayahs 88 to 89. They say, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. So these ayahs say that on the day of judgment, absolutely nothing will be of benefit for you as a human being. Nothing being your wealth, your health, your assets, your houses, your cars, your race, your family, your skin color. Absolutely nothing of that will be of benefit to you on the day of judgment, except if you come and stand in front of God with a good, pure, sound heart. So if praying, if fasting, if paying sadaqah or zakat is not doing something to your heart, you may be doing something wrong. So we have to get the basics straightened out before beginning. So I wanted to pose a question to the audience. Do you know why Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam was sent? And please leave a comment. To show us high character. Yes. To spread the message of Islam. Yes. He was sent as mercy mankind, to bring the message, the guidance from God. Yes, so these are all good answers. They're actually right answers too. So in the Quran, Allah says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And we have not sent you except for a mercy for mankind. So Allah didn't say that He sent Prophet Muhammad down as a mercy for the Muslims, as a mercy for the believers, as a mercy for a certain race. He sent Sayyidina Muhammad down as a mercy for everyone, for mankind. And a basic rule is that Islam came in as a mercy for everyone. So if it's not making your life easier, then there's something wrong. There's either something wrong with your understanding of Islam, your heart, you need to work on it or purify it, or whatever message you heard is not correct. And the topic of the purification of the heart is a universal Islamic message. Sarah Ahmed was right. Yes, she was. Okay. So another verse sent down was كما أرسلنا فيكم رسولا منكم يتلو عليكم آياتنا ويزكيكم. And we have sent a prophet amongst you to read our verses and to purify you. So the main purpose of sending Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam down is to purify our hearts. I know I also can't hear you guys, but I do want to make sure that you're also saying alayhi salatu wasalam after I say Sayyidina Muhammad's name. So worshiping with your heart before anything else is very important because Islam is not just about the outwardly looks that we're so focused on lately. Which brings me to my next point. So I specifically wanted to talk about something that I feel is very relevant right now. It's the topic of being mad at God. And I know this sounds pretty harsh, but I was thinking because of the coronavirus pandemic, I know many of us went into 2020 like having a lot of plans. Like I know for me especially, I was planning on graduating college. I was planning on getting married. I was planning on going to my friends' weddings and traveling to this country and doing this and doing that. And then one little virus came and destroyed all of that. And so I know many people are thinking like, why me? Why me, Allah? Like I'm a good person. I have good intentions. I've been working so hard. I've been doing everything right. Like, why is this happening to me right now? And if you have any of these reactions, which I'm sure many of us do, I'm guilty of it myself, then you have a little disease in the heart, which is called being discontent with God's divine decree. And this is an issue because you can't be angry with God and not understand the wisdom behind things at the same time. And these are two things that we need to start accepting. Life is not about having fun. We need to stop treating this world as heaven, like we can get whatever we want whenever we want. We have to remember that life is a test. Life is not heaven. When we get there, inshallah, we can have whatever we want whenever we want. But this is hayatud dunya. Dunya means low. It comes from the word dana. So this is actually the low life. It's not always about having fun, even though we can easily get fooled with social media today. Like everyone's traveling here and there, doing this and that, trying these new clothes and these bags, and influencers and bloggers. Like, yes, you can indulge in those things, of course, but at the end of the day, we have to realize that this is not life. This is not everything about life. Life is about big tests and big problems. So, I just wanted you guys to take a couple of minutes to reflect on any big problems or big tests you've encountered. Ask yourself, how was this a blessing from Allah? And also think about your reaction to it. So I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to reflect. And again, I'm just going to repeat, I want you guys to reflect on any big problems or big tests you've encountered. Ask yourself, how is this a blessing from Allah? And also think about your reaction to it. 5 minutes starting now. Yes, if you feel comfortable sharing or writing your reflections in the chat, you can go ahead. You don't have to tell me what your big test was if you don't feel comfortable, but any reflections you had, it would be nice to read that. Okay. So if anyone has any reflections they want to share, you can send it in now. Okay. I'll continue and I'll read your reflections, inshallah. So Allah says in the Quran, الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. It is He who created death and life to test you, to see who has the best reaction. So whenever you're faced with a problem, the one with the best reaction is the one who succeeds and elevates his status. Always do your best and leave the rest in the hands of Allah, and try to be content with whatever happens. So actually, I have a story about um, one guy went to the Prophet before and told him, "Can I just leave my camel there and expect it to stay when I come back out from prayers? Am I going to find it?" And the Prophet said, "Of course not. You should tie your camel, اعقلها وتوكل, and then leave the rest in the hands of God. So you do your work and wait for God to do his magic. But if you're not happy with the magic, that's the problem, because sometimes we fail to understand God's wisdom." And Allah says in the Quran that He will test us. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. This is from Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 155. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give good tidings to the patient. So Allah says, we will test you. We will test you with some lack of security. So, for example, refugees, they've been through wars, they have no electricity or power. Some might not even have any idea of what's going on with their families. And this is a big test. But we need to understand لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will never burden you with a test that you cannot bear or handle. So if your test is big, understand that you can handle a big test, and others might not be able to handle that same test that you're going through right now. And if it's taking you a little bit longer than everybody else, understand that Allah is telling you that you are special and you can handle longer tests. I know you don't want to right now, and you might not understand the wisdom behind it, but you should trust in Allah, and I'll say later why. So the number one type of test is lack of security. Another one is not having enough food. Like right now, coronavirus, everything is off of the shelves in all of the grocery stores. Or even Hurricane Sandy, thinking back then, everything was gone from the stores, all of the power and electricity was gone, and that was only for a week. But I remember that week like as if it was yesterday. And it's like you have money, but you can't buy anything anyway because everything was gone from the stores. So that's also a reminder that money can't buy you everything all the time, even if you have it. وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ. Sometimes Allah is going to test you with your money and lack of money, actually. So if you have money, sometimes it can be lost. You can go into a guaranteed business deal and lose everything. You can put your money into the stock market and you can lose it. Even more relevant to now, the stock market. Or you can have your purse in the car and someone breaks in and steals it. All of these examples, that's a test. And you should do your best, but if it's out of your hands, there is nothing you can do. And when there is nothing you can do, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. That's what God says. Give glad tidings to the ones who are patient. Patience is the ultimate key in Islam. And I'm talking about patience after doing everything you can possibly do. Like after you do everything, then you be patient. So for example, let's say you have a final and every single day you're praying to Allah, oh, please let me ace this final. Please let me ace this final. But also at the same time, you're watching Netflix all the time, not putting in any effort into studying. Obviously, you're not going to do well in the final if you don't study for it. So you can't just pray to Allah and not do anything about it at the same time. Tie your camel and leave the rest to Allah. Patience is not something you're born with. It's something that you really need to work on growing. You have to nurture patience, you have to learn patience. It's something that you always have to work towards every single day. It's not something that you're just born with. That's where free will and Allah's plan mix together. Yeah, exactly. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا. O you who believe, be patient and help others with being patient. Surround yourselves with good friends who can help you in being patient and help you to see the wisdom because you're not always going to see that. So the next test that Allah talks about is وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ. Al-anfus. Sometimes God is going to test us by losing loved ones. If you have a family member, a friend, a loved one with a life-threatening disease, it's hard. It's very difficult to go through. Or losing a child. It's extremely difficult, and you fail to see the wisdom. But did you know that Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, lost 5 out of 6 of his kids? He had to bury 5 of his own children. That Prophet Ayub, already at a very low point in his life, lost all 10 of his children at once. So can you imagine burying your own child? It's extremely difficult. And the prophets were obviously very upset and they were sobbing and they thought that it was so hard, but inside they accepted it and they had patience. And obviously, we as humans are never going to reach the level of patience that the prophets had, but we can work on emulating it. So one time the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was talking and said, "Ajaban li amr al-mu'min." It's amazing the mentality of a believer because everything that happens to them is good. They always have a positive attitude. And if you want to be a good believer, a good Muslim, you should always have a good attitude in life and find the good in everything that happens. And he says, "In asabathu sarra shakar, wa in asabathu darra sabar, wa laysa dhalika illa lil-mu'min." So he was saying it's amazing that status, the mentality of a believer. If something good happens to them and they're blessed with something, they thank God. They don't forget and attribute all of their good to themselves only. They thank the people and they thank God. If someone helps you in Islam, you should thank them. Man la yashkurun nas la yashkur Allah. Basically, the Prophet said if you don't thank people, you're not thanking God. You should always be a thankful person. Thank whoever helps you in this life if you ask for help, and thank God. If you want to thank God, thank the people around you. Never say that if something good happened to you, it was only from you without acknowledging Allah. If you are blessed, that blessing came from Allah. So, a little activity. I want everyone watching right now to send a thank you to someone in their life, um, because if you're thanking someone, of course, you're thanking Allah. Okay. And at the same time, in asabatul darra sabar. If something bad happens to you, you see the blessing in disguise, or you're patient. If you fail to see the wisdom, at least you're patient. And if you're patient, inshallah, you pass the test in a good way. And the best reaction is what will elevate you and what will reward you. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, especially um, like having patience with um, like your family. They really know how to get under your skin. But anyway, um, I will close out with a verse from the Quran. وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. So Allah is telling you sometimes perhaps you'll hate something that happens to you, but it's actually good for you. God is preparing you for something else. And without that preparation, when you move on to the next level, you won't be ready. It's like skipping a step. So God is preparing you right now for the future. وَعَسَى أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. Sometimes you really want something, but it's actually not good for you. And God is not going to give it to you, and you might not understand the wisdom. And actually, if He gives it to you, it's going to ruin you one way or the other. It's going to make a worse person out of you. So we should say, Alhamdulillah, that you didn't get the job that you wanted, or that promotion, or the raise, or whatever it was that you were looking forward to. Maybe you were going to spend that money in the wrong way. And that's honestly not always the case. But you should always reflect and ponder about Allah's wisdom and always try to put your trust in Allah. So this goes back to the activity that I told you guys earlier. Think about some time when you went through a big test, and then think about what blessing came from it. Think about Allah's wisdom, like why did Allah do this? What might have been bad that came from it, and always try to put your trust in Allah. And a final reminder, patience is not something you do once. Um, you can't say, "Oh, I was patient yesterday. I don't need to be patient today. Oh, I was patient when this happened a couple of weeks ago, so I don't need to be patient right now." Patience is something that you should constantly be practicing every day so that when something bad happens to you, and something bad will happen to you will be at peace with Allah's decree. But also at the same time, don't be complacent, don't be lazy, do your best and trust in Allah. Okay, so that's actually all I have. Sorry if I was talking too fast, but I will open the comments if anyone wants to um, share the reflections from the earlier activity or share who you're going to thank or if anyone has any questions. I'm going to thank my mom. We should all thank our moms today and every day. Thank you, Mama, if you're watching. I also wanted to ask, how are you guys all spending Ramadan? I think Ramadan is going to be, even though it's very different than previous Ramadans, obviously, because we're not going to be in Taraweeh, we're not going to see our friends and have those atikafs as usual. But we're gonna have a lot more time to reflect and hopefully work on our patience. Reading Quran. Yes, that's a good way to spend Ramadan. Is there a way to develop patience? I wish I knew. um, so honestly, I don't know if this is the right answer, but the way that I'm thinking about it is um, like, let's say, like I said before, your family sometimes like really knows how to get under your skin. Like out of all people in the world, those are the people that really know what bothers you. So maybe instead of reacting the same way that you usually do when getting into an argument with a family member or just anyone in general, like sit down and think about um, like okay, sit down and think about like how could you react differently, or is there a way to develop patience? I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this. Okay. Fasting is a good way, and also you could save a lot of food from coronavirus. That is right. You can save a lot of food from coronavirus. I am fasting. Tarawih in the house. Yes. Sabr is the best. Doing great. Thank you. But also, yeah, I think uh, developing patience is like something that you can work on constantly every day. Like sitting down, reflecting about Allah's wisdom behind what happened and why it's better for you for not okay. Make a group. Think before you act. Think about the impact of what you will say on the feeling of others. Yes. Make a group call with friends to recite Quran together. Yes, that's a great way to spend Ramadan. Actually, that's a great reminder about fasting to develop patience. Wow, look at you, Yassine. You gave a good suggestion. Fasting is a good way. Being mindful, for sure. Um, okay, if anyone has anything else to add, also having a vision for yourself and how you want to be, develop a plan for being more patient, for example. Yes, yeah, that's a good idea. Check the need of others, especially the elderly. What will you be doing in Ramadan, inshallah? I'll be spending it at home like everyone else, hopefully reflecting on everything. Um, but yeah, I wanted to say thank you all. Anything good that came from me, anything right that came from me was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anything that was wrong came from myself and the shaitan. Um, I hope that everyone's doing fine during this time. If anyone needs anything from me, please feel free to reach out. Um, Inshallah, Allahumma balighna Ramadan. And again, may Allah have mercy on the souls of the people that were with us last Ramadan but couldn't make it again this Ramadan. And inshallah, we also are able to make it to Ramadan, inshallah. Um, yeah, thank you guys. Assalamu alaikum.